Hello, I'm Elaine Davis, and welcome to Voices Emerge. I'm here interviewing my daughter, Emeri. I'll let her introduce herself, but before she gets started, I want to share a little tidbit. Emeri just got engaged. So, Emeri, you want to share your ring real quick? Yes. So go ahead, Emeri, introduce yourself.
My name's Emeri Fennell. I am 29 and I live in Austin, Texas.
Yes. So Emeri and I had a really good conversation just a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about self-awareness and how you have self-awareness as an adult or a female. And so it was so good. And I said, oh, Emeri, I wish we got this on recording because it was so, she was teaching me. I got emotional. We had a good talk. So I wanted her to bring Emeri back and let's kind of finish our conversation as we started on that. And some of the things you talked about, definitely more women can learn from and can share. So go ahead and share a little bit on what some of our conversation.
Yeah, so we were talking about just like life and just the journey that you go through the stages of life as a woman. And I was telling my mom that like I feel like the older I get, the more I need you. And it's like a different type of need. It's different type of mindset that I have now because we're both adults, so we think the same now. Like, of course, I needed her when I was a child, for raising me and nurturing and all those things. But like now, since I think similar to you because I am an adult, like I feel like I appreciate your perspective and opinion on things so much more. And we were also talking about just like when it comes to your journey, what that looks like and how you navigate the trials that you go through.
Okay. So one of the things I notice about you is that you have this personality where you know who you are and you know what you want. Like
Yeah.
you don't put up with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no.
And that's one of the things I admire about you. So
Yeah.
how did you get there? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like it's interesting because I'm about to turn 30 next year. And you always hear people say like your 30s are like the best era where you just kind of don't put up with nothing and you know what you want and you know yourself and you have more money, you have like better people in your life. And I feel like I've kind of lived my life like that for the last like 5 years, so before I was even 30. And I'm not sure exactly like what switched for me, but I just kind of don't put up with nothing. Like I just really know that like life is too short to be unhappy.
Yes, yes, that's a true statement. But one of the things that I know about myself, and I struggle with that, and that's why I got emotional when you were talking about it last time, is you know me. I'm strong where it comes to, wanting to be who I am, but I still struggle when I feel somebody don't like me. Mm-hmm. I really do. If I think somebody don't like me, I talk about it. I struggle with it. I don't let it hinder me and stop me. Mm-hmm. But I know with you, basically, you don't care if no one don't like you. You don't care. How did you get to that point?
I mean, I know like it's normal to want to be, accepted and to, want to put your best foot forward and not be judged. So I get like that feeling of like wanting people to like you. But I think it comes down to like people project and put a lot of things like if someone doesn't like you, it's an internal projection of things that they probably don't like about themselves.
Oh, so
or
true.
it's they're not liking you because of something that they've made up in their head. And like that's not real. Like you are not liking me because of what you think, but not because of what I know. So like it's none of my business, honestly. That's kind of how I feel. Like
That's true.
you could say that you don't like me because you think that I'm stuck up or you think that I'm rude or whatever. And like that's your perception, but that doesn't make it real. That doesn't make it true. And that's why it's important to really know yourself and to know like who you are and your own personality and like those type of things, because if you let what people are saying about you affect you, you'll believe what they're saying about you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you think because of some of the things you've experienced got you here? Because it
Yeah, for
makes me
sure.
wonder, like, how did you get here when, as your mother, I admit I struggled with it and I
Yeah.
didn't get to it later in life. So what did you go through to make you get here?
I don't know. Honestly, I feel like, I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like it's kind of just one of those things, unfortunately, where it's either in you or it's not. And fortunately for me, I was blessed to like have that confidence and that type of like mindset,
Right.
because it is something that you have to like kind of train yourself to think about and to like not let people's opinions affect you. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, one of the things I know you do, and maybe this could help someone, is you journal.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot of people don't journal.
I do.
So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you actually got me my first journal.
I remember that.
And so for me, my type of journaling, I like journals with prompts, because some people journal, they just have like a spiral notebook and they just like write whatever. That doesn't personally work for me. I like a journal with like prompts to like kind of get my mind thinking. So I have a prayer journal specifically that I use. My mom got it for me, like my first one, like maybe 5 years ago. And it has 4 prompts. So it says verse of the day, and then it'll say I'm thankful for, and then it'll say it has a prompt, like it has 4 sections. So verse of the day, I'm thankful for, I want God to teach me to, and then prayer request. And so the way that I journal, it's kind of just like, and even if you're not religious, I think journaling helps a lot because it's just a conversation.
Yes.
And it's like you can just literally speak about whatever you're going through and just release it. I think it's really important to like release your emotions and don't like live there. You know, like you can feel it, but you can't stay there, you know? And that's why I have this too shall pass tattooed on me, because like pain doesn't last forever, you know, like, and good doesn't last forever. But I think it's important to like feel your feelings, you know, because you're a human.
Right.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to be sad and upset and disappointed and hurt. But like, you're only doing a disservice to yourself if you allow it to like let you be depressed and
See,
to,
that's what I need you to say. I'm sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
but that's the rim of what I want to talk about,
Yeah.
because a lot of people waddle in those feelings forever.
It's easy to. I've been there before.
You don't do that, though. You are quick enough to say, what did that teach you, and move on.
Yeah, because I just don't want to be sad. Like, that's my thing. Like, I've been at a point where I was very, very depressed before, going through a breakup. And it's funny because I was young, and like in hindsight now, like that breakup was so stupid and ridiculous because I was so little. But it's like, I remember how that felt. And it's like, I feel like for me at least, like I'm a fast learner. Like I go through something, I'm like, oh, I know I don't want to feel like that no more. Like, and I know that I don't want to experience that no more. And so I think that like I was about to say, I went through a breakup before where like it hurt me so bad, where I'm like on the ground crying, like, you know, like that heartbreak where you can feel it. Like,
Yes,
it's like
absolutely.
literally like it hurts. And so I think once you've like been at your lowest before, like it's only up from here.
Yes.
You know, that's kind of
Yes.
how I have to think about it. And you also have to remember like life is hard. Life be lifing. That's what me
Oh
and my
my
friends say all
gosh.
the time.
Yes.
Like, and it's always going to be something. That's one thing that I've realized about adulthood. It's always something. Literally
right.
every day, it's
That's
something.
right.
It's something to do, someone to call, something to pay. And so
That's true.
I think that like, you know, you can't let these situations make you be depressed, because there's a lot of beauty in life and there's a lot of things to be thankful for, like small things. Like, you know, if you have family, friends, people in your life, people in your corner that you can talk to, rely on, like that's a blessing because a lot of people don't have it. You have a house, you have a bathroom to go to, a shower to use, food in your
Oh
fridge,
my
or
gosh.
a car to drive, ability to go buy food. Like those are things to be like blessed and reminded that like you're very fortunate. So like you can't, in the words of Nipsey Hussle, you can't let a hard time humble you because like it's true. Like you just can't let it like
That's right.
ruin your life. Like
That's
things are
right.
gonna happen, but you can't let it be the end of the world for you.
See, and that's one thing I have to comment on that because, born and raised in South Central, I know a lot of people that say I'm a product of my environment and, I can't move out of the hood because this is all I know.
Right.
But there's so much that you are stuck there because you want to.
Yeah.
Because as you become an adult, you can make your decisions on yourself.
For sure.
So one of the things I want to say too about you and your daughter, your sister, is you guys had a lot of hard things growing up. You
Yeah.
saw a lot of things you probably shouldn't have seen.
Yeah.
And but out of that, you still talk like this.
Yeah.
So that's why I go back and say, if you don't mind, do you mind sharing some of like the personal things that you had with your father that helped you get to where you're at too?
Wasn't expecting that. Yeah, I feel like one thing that I've realized is that, everybody's been through something. Like we all have a story,
Oh my gosh, yes.
and my story, I've been through some stuff also. Like my childhood I wouldn't say it was hard, but it was, like you said, I saw things that maybe I shouldn't have saw. And I feel like definitely what I went through gives me like my perspective on life,
Yes.
because I know now, like as an adult, like with my adult brain, like we were saying, like life is hard and people be going through things.
Yes.
And I could have easily been a product of my environment if I would have
Absolutely.
let those things that I went through allow me to become whatever that looks like. But I think you're a big reason why me and my sister turned out so good. And I don't want you to not give yourself credit for it because, I always had a mom that, well, I'm about to cry.
I am too. That's okay. And I know and I can say why I'm about to cry
Oh my God.
because I struggled with always feeling like I should have
know.
done something
Yeah,
different.
you say that all the time.
And
One thing me and my friends were talking about this past weekend, we were saying that you have to give your parents grace because like it's all our first time. Like this life journey, like we've never done this before,
absolutely.
you know? So like,
We need tissue on the desk, huh?
yeah. So like you have to give your parents like grace with that because you were doing your best, with the circumstances that you were living with. You had
Thank
two
you.
kids. Yeah, no, we were talking about this literally this weekend. You had two kids, and I look at you and I look at my sister, like I'm 29, so I'm almost 30, which is like a real adult. But like I feel sometimes like, oh my gosh, like not like a child, but I just feel like I look at you having kids younger than what I am and I'm just
Yeah.
like, how?
I was 23.
Yeah. And I look at my sister who has kids and it's just like, you guys are just so strong. Like I think when you put kids into this situation, like you have to do the best thing you can for your kids.
Right.
And I think it's important to like, we talk about this all the time. Like you can't be a good mom if you're not a happy mom.
Absolutely. I had this conversation with your sister.
Yeah.
And I told her that. I said, the product of a family, which I didn't really know that back then, like you said, I was young, was that it takes the husband and wife to be happy.
Yeah.
If they're not happy, it trickles down to the children, and you see the reflect of that.
Yeah, one of my friends was asking me this weekend, because one of my friends, her parents are still married, and she was asking that friend, like, are you, like, how would you feel if your parents got divorced with you being 29? She's like, 'cause I always see, like, it, like, affects kids a lot, like, and I wonder how it would affect you as an adult. And I was telling them, I was like, when my parents got divorced, I was happy about it. And they were like, really, how old were you? And I was like 12, 13. And I was like, I was happy because I knew that my parents were unhappy together.
Right.
And I knew my mom was unhappy. And like, I really, remember?
Yeah,
I really
you bet.
wanted you guys to not be together.
Yeah, you used to tell me all the time, why
Yeah.
haven't you left him? Why can't you leave him? You used
As
to
like
say
a
it all the
child, I
time.
used to think that. Because, like you said, it's important. I'd rather my parents be apart and be healthy and happy
Yes.
than be together and be miserable.
Yes.
And be in an unhealthy relationship.
Yep, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I don't want to trickle there, and I know these conversations get us both emotional, so
Yeah.
I didn't want us to die on that note.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I brought it up, because I think a lot of that made you who you are.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
made you strong, where you have that attitude of like, been there, done that.
Yeah, for sure.
And at a young age, so as a result, now that you're 29, you don't take no bull.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
for
that's
sure.
why you are at where you're at. And thank you for feeling comfortable to have that little piece of the conversation. I do plan on having one of my podcasts around that and
Yeah.
what that looks like. But I want to get you guys permission on what I'm able to say too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think definitely what I've been through plays a part into how I am, for just like for everybody. Like,
Yeah.
what you go through, you know, you kind of, I think it's important to like learn from your mistakes. A lot of people like me, for example, like I'm the type of person, you only have to show me one time and like I only have to be hurt one time.
You are like that.
I don't want to be hurt 1,000 times.
You don't do the 3 strikes
I
route.
don't, yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I just don't do that. I think it's, and I think like not everybody's like that, and I acknowledge that, and that's fine if you're not like that, but I think it's important to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Because if you have to learn the same lesson like 5, 6 times, like, aren't you tired? Like, aren't you exhausted? Isn't it like you're only hurting yourself? And it's
Right.
just like I think God like shows you signs, and everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And I think it's really important to like with the main topic of like being aware, it's important to like be aware of the signs. Like, I think there's signs everywhere, and I think that like people come into your life for like a reason and for a season sometimes. Like,
Yes.
not everything is meant to be permanent.
Yes.
Not everything
Yes.
is meant to be long lasting. Not everything is like, you know, like things are temporary, and that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And like things are meant to be temporary for it to teach you, to get you to the next level.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so to tie it back to like the self-awareness, I think that plays a part too, because you have to be like open to seeing that. You can't be so stuck with like, oh, well, like I think my life is going to go ABC, so like I'm going to force it to be ABC. You're going to force it, and that's why it's going to be in shambles.
Right.
And that's why you're going to be disappointed, because it's not going the way you thought it was supposed to go.
That is so good. See?
Yeah.
That is so good. Gosh, I couldn't have said it better than what you just said.
Yeah.
That is so good. So with that being said, one of the things I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget was, mentally strong women are grounded and balanced in adversity. They acknowledge their feelings without being overwhelmed, and they use healthy ways to cope with stress.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that I want to make sure as the message get out, that being mentally strong and understanding who you are, it helps you cope and it helps you get through life in general.
For sure. But I think that also another thing is like, one thing I always say, you probably heard me say this before too, is that I think being mentally strong is like a blessing.
Yes.
And I think that like, not everybody has that capability. And I think that if you are able to like have your peace of mind and have your stability of mind, like that's really a blessing, because not everybody has that.
Right.
And that's part of like the journey of like being a woman, is like, how do you get to that point? or maybe you know, are not there yet, but how do you get there?
Right.
Everyone's journey looks different, but, and I'm not really sure how you get there, honestly. I think it's just, I don't know. It's one of the things you just have to really pray for strength, for real. That's what I be doing.
Yes.
And you really just have to like talk to God about it. Like, I'm not trying to make this super religious, but it's true. Like, I really live my life like I'm like in constant conversation with
Yes.
God. Like,
And it's not
seriously.
about, like you said, you know, you don't want to make this super religious, but, you know, we have a faith base and that's what we live and live our life like.
Right.
And I think it's more of what your faith is and how you live your life. And that's, like you said, that's how we've lived our life.
Yeah,
That's how you were
that's
raised.
just how I live my life.
Exactly.
Right.
And sometimes it scares me because I don't know how people do it without God.
That's how I feel, for real.
You know,
For real.
and so, but with that, you know, we know that I'm hoping that the purpose of this, if we reach one woman with these conversations, then our job is done.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the whole purpose of, you know, Voices Emerged, is that I just want us to be able to share these stories and let something we said, be able to take a nugget away from it. Again, we are not psychologists. We don't have a degree in psychology. You know, we are just women that are able to share some of our experiences and help others learn from it.
Right.
But again, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you, and I definitely appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Of course.